Alright, and we are ready for the Metroid Dread run by Crab. Give a warm welcome, everyone.
Hello everyone, I'm Crab. I'll be running Metroid Dread, no major glitches, any percent. And I guess we can just go ahead and get right into it. Starting off, you'll see that I already have 3 minutes and 44 seconds on the clock. That's because all runs in Metroid Dread are allowed to start with the opening cutscene skipped with a save made right after the opening cutscene because it is unskippable and does last 3 minutes 45 seconds, which is not really the most good when you're grinding resets. So we're gonna gain control of Samus real quick, and already you're gonna see the most basic movement that we have. We are able to run, jump, spin jump, and slide, as well as shoot two different types of projectiles, the normal beam and missiles. We can also wall jump and shoot through blocks. All very classic Metroid stuff. And up here is going to be our first cutscene with Adam. Adam is Samus's like robotic companion. We have crashed on a planet. Are trying to escape. We were just gonna.
Alright, sorry everyone, we are having some more tech issues. We will be starting the run properly in just a few minutes. Keep spamming those crabs in chat to give Crab the power to overcome technology. Alright, tech issues have hopefully been resolved, and we will be starting again. Welcome, Crab, again.
Hello everyone. I'm back. Still Crab, still Metroid Dread, no major glitches, any percent, and we're just gonna get right started. I'm not sure how much you caught before, so I'm just going to start over. This is no major glitches, any percent. Samus has crashed on an alien planet. You know the drill. You may have noticed that there were 3 minutes 44 seconds on the clock already as I began the run. That's because the opening cutscene is unskippable, and the community allows you to start with a save made right after the opening cutscene because nobody has time to wait 3 minutes and 45 seconds when you're grinding. And up here, you're gonna see all of Samus's basic movements. Run, jump, slide, spin jump, wall jump, break through blocks. Pretty standard Metroid fare. And we do have a quick cutscene with Adam that he tells us that yes, we have indeed crashed on an alien planet, which Samus has now done around 6 times. So we're just going to be moving through the opening area, and up here we have our first minor glitch. It's not a major glitch because it's no major glitches. So up here we are going to be trying a pseudo wave. Wave beam is an upgrade that is pretty classic to Metroid that lets you shoot through walls. I do not have that yet on account of just having started the game. But it turns out if you slide and then jump out of a slide, you can get Samus's arm cannon stuck in the wall. And if that happens, and you shoot at just the right time, at just the right angle, then you can shoot through the wall. So I'm going to quickly shut up here because this is a tough one. But you can see that I'm sliding, jumping, and shooting as Samus's arm cannon enters the wall. And you can see that I've hit this blob once. I need to hit it twice to get through. And I just skipped like 10 minutes of gameplay. It's a really one of the biggest skips in the entire game right off the bat. You can see that... Sorry, one sec. We are actually in the boss of this area already, even though we just started the game. We skipped a couple major tutorial areas, as well as just lots of movement running around stuff. So this boss, we're just going to pump a bunch of missiles into his face. He turns invisible. That's not a big deal. Just going to try not to waste too many missiles. So you have to shoot him in the face. There is a lot of mashing in this game, unfortunately. I'm going to intentionally take damage here. And there we go. That's the first upgrade already, Phantom Cloak. So the Phantom Cloak is going to allow us to turn invisible for a short amount of time to enemies. However, it will also mean that we walk a lot slower. So I'll be using it pretty sparingly. And, of course, to get through doors, because there's nothing Samus likes more than getting through doors. Even though a lot of these upgrades have utility outside of opening doors, most of them will be opening doors anyway. We're just going to match through another cutscene here, and we will be entering the first Emmy zone of the game. So, in a first for the series and for Nintendo in general, there are elements of horror in this game. Not a lot, just a little bit, but there is going to be this creepy robot stalking me throughout this area. And if he catches you, it's pretty much instant death. So I'm going to be trying to avoid him as much as possible. Thankfully, because of the weird order that I've taken to get here, he is not active yet. So I should be able to move through this area without any risk of being spotted. You can tell when I'm in an Emmy zone because everything's going to be super gray and gloomy and have, you know, typical horror sound effects. We've got a bit more movement coming up here, and I'm actually going to be attempting another skip. This one doesn't save very much time, so if I miss it once or twice, I'm probably just going to go the long way. And there we go, we got it. That one abuses the Phantom Cloak to slide a little bit further and get more coyote frames than you're supposed to. So we are just going to move through a little bit more of this Emmy area, and do another quick skip coming up. You are able to melee to cancel a wall jump, and that allows you to get a second wall jump higher on the wall than you are supposed to be able to, which just lets you scale some walls pretty nicely. Up here, coming up, we have our first normal upgrade of the run, which will be the Charge Beam. And here we go, this is the Charge Beam. Off the top of my head, I don't think there are any spider enemies in this game, thankfully. So, I don't think you need to worry about an arachnophobia warning. If I remember, I will let you know. So, Charge Beam, if you hold down on the shoot button, you get this charge effect. If you do a spin jump, you also get a little area that deals damage to enemies around you. But mostly it's just there to open doors. You can see that those dim yellow doors can only be opened with the Charge Beam. I will be pointing out every single kind of door in this game because there are a lot of different kinds of doors. And you will notice that I'm backtracking through this area. If you have not played a Metroid game, there is lots of backtracking, going from place to place with different upgrades. And by the way, if you're worried about the scorpion that I killed earlier, he's okay, he's in the background. Don't worry about it. Just another one of those weird side effects about the order that I'm these early game ovens. So we get a nice view of the magma sucker. And we're just going to come down here to open up the door, the last upgrade in this area that I need to get for now. So Samus is just going to stick her gun in a place where it doesn't belong. I'm sure this will end completely fine. And oh! What's this? I think it's opened up another door. Okay, so we are going to head back up the cane. And this time, Adam is going to tell us a little bit more about Emmys, and I will too. So Emmys, I mentioned, are the scary robots that follow you around areas. However, you can't always avoid them. I need to best them in each area because they're all holding an upgrade. So the way that you do that is you find the central chamber in the Emmy zone, do a little mini boss fight, and then you have to track down the Emmy and shoot it to death. I'm just going to do a quick other sequence break to get up here. This one's a little bit harder. Might take me a few tries.
While Crab is going for this trick, I just want to remind everyone to get the donations in specifically for the boss rush incentive for this run.
Alright, so Samus realized that she forgot something in here, and oh, bad luck. Going back through the door triggered that Emmy to spawn. You know, it's really just quite unfortunate. So we're just going to go quickly through here, and this is the central chamber that I mentioned earlier. If you have played Super Metroid, this is a reference to the final boss of that, and also the original Metroid Mother Brain. There will be one of these in each area. We're just going to pump the first phase full of missiles, second phase full of beams, and that's it. That's the first boss fight. Now we have the Omega Blaster, which is an extremely powerful gun. We can only use it in the Emmy zone after we have beaten the central chamber, and only once. So I'm only gonna have one shot to take this guy down. I mean, technically, I guess you have multiple shots at the Omega Blaster, but I can't leave the area or anything, so that's what I'm doing. One shot to take down the shell, one shot to take down the Emmy, and that's it. I don't think Central Chamber is a Celeste reference, although I could be wrong. Maybe the Metroid team are a fan of Celeste. So, this is the first of several Emmys in the game. There's one in each area, except for one area, because I don't know why. This one is going to give us the Spider Magnet, which is the wall climb ability. If you saw those blue walls earlier, this is going to let me climb on the blue walls. Also, if you've played Ori and the Blind Forest, this is the same mechanic. You see a blue wall, you can climb up it. Metroid games are amazing. This is the most recent 2D Metroid game. I am a big fan of this series. I highly recommend. I'm actually playing through Metroid Prime Remastered right now. Super fun. Anyway, back on track. That is the last upgrade of this trip to the opening area. We are going to be coming back to the opening area for a few other various upgrades. But we are going to move on to the next area. So unlike games like Super Metroid, where the map is all one interconnected thing, Metroid Dread is made up of several smaller areas that you need to take trains and trams to get through. So I'll be calling those out when those happen, but they're essentially glorified loading screens as you go between areas. So those would be good times for donations if I'm not explaining the next chapter of the run. This one coming up is the elevator to Cataris, which is like the industrial area of the game. I'm going to be opening a lot of doors, and this is going to be the longest stretch between upgrades of the entire run. I'm actually not going to get a single upgrade here. I'm going to be getting my first upgrade in the next area. So it's mostly just a lot of movement, and a lot of people tout this area as some of the hardest in the whole run, just because you need to go through the Emmy zone several times, and unlike the first area, the Emmy's gonna be around and bullying me the entire time. And like I said, if I get caught, it's pretty much game over. I do have a very slim window to save myself, but it's not really anything reliable that I can go for on purpose. It's just like, if I get caught and I save myself, that'll be, a nice thing. So this is the last time that we're gonna talk to Adam here. Thankfully, in this area, there is a major skip that confuses Adam, that doesn't let you talk to him anymore. He's expecting you to talk to him in this area, and we're just gonna avoid the area where he's expecting you. Which is nice. It means that it saves a lot of mashing, a lot of time spent in cutscenes. Super, super nice. Up here, we're gonna be opening the first of several of these heat doors in this area. There was one earlier, but this is pretty much the main area where you can find it. I'm going to kill one of these guys just for the health, because I don't really want to die. Okay. You will probably see me doing several safety kills throughout the run, just because, it's a marathon. I don't really want to die. Dying in this game is not very punishing, thankfully. There are plenty of checkpoints that the game sets, but better safe than sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of different kinds of doors in this game. We haven't even scratched the surface. I'll call out more kinds of doors as we see them, but we're going to go through here, a little bit of movement, and we are coming up on the Emmy area. If you're following along at home, these weird, cube doors are where the Emmy zone begins. Okay, so the Emmy is in this room. You can hear it beeping around up there, and it's actually right above me, and it's on me. So if the Emmy sees you, you need to run far enough away that it can't track you anymore. You can see that happened because my map in the upper right of the screen, the border went from red to yellow. So he's tracking me, but he doesn't know exactly where I am. If the border is red, I can't leave the area, and I need to evade the Emmy until he loses track of me, which can be kind of a tall order. Okay, the Emmy is going to be in a really bad spot up here. I'm going to need to lure him around because he's blocking pretty much the entire border. I'm gonna hope, but okay. Good. That was a little bit of bad RNG. It is possible to get through that. Kill this guy. It is possible to get through that without the Emmy seeing you, but it's extremely tight and hard to do, and you need basically perfect movement. Okay, so I have now turned on this elevator. I'm going to be going up through there shortly. And you saw me with that robot enemy, and that is going to make me want to give a challenge to the chat. Whenever an enemy ruins my day, I want you to name the enemy so I can have something to blame throughout all the rest of my runs. So it'll be pretty clear when an enemy ruins my day. It won't be it won't be a question. So if you want to give an enemy a name, just go ahead and throw it in the chat. In future runs, it'll just make my life more fun. You saw me there doing a quick charge. Turns out the animation for charging up a beam is faster if you turn around, so that's a little strange. This is the skip that allows you to skip Adam. You can do a tight jump in this area to get to a place that you're not supposed to be. That was very close. Just...
Yeah, I see Reed says in chat they're going to donate $5 for every enemy that ruins Crab's day. If anyone wants to join in with that, yeah, we could give Crab some compensation for having their day ruined by meeting the incentive for the boss rush at the end of this run.
Oh boy, even more enemies that'll ruin my day. There we go. That's the trick. You do need to buffer every input on that, and there's a frame-perfect melee against the wall, but it's worth it because it saves like 3.5 minutes or something crazy like that. I don't know the exact amount of time. Thankfully, that is also one of the hardest skips in the run done. This run is pretty front-weighted in terms of difficulty. I do an easier route that does not involve the short boost. If you know anything about this game, you know about the short boost, and you'll understand why I'm not doing it in a marathon. It's a run killer for sure. So now that I'm done with those skips, we're mostly just going to be focusing on quick movement and combat for time save instead of big skips like I have been so far. You can call the enemies Archie if you so choose. However, remember that this is gonna be kind of a negative thing. Like, I'll be like, oh, he's in a bad spot, and we're good. In future runs, I'll use the name that you came up with to reference the enemies. So true. I trust Archie with my life. Okay, we're going to go up here. Oh! I think that counts as ruining my day. I'm down for now. That guy also needs a name, because the RNG on those blobs is really something else. Well, I think in that case, Archie really just ruined his own day, instead of any one person in particular. Alright, I'm going to be grabbing this E-Tank. E-Tanks, you saw me get one earlier. They just increase the amount of health that you have. I'll be getting several safety E-Tanks that aren't necessarily in the any percent route, just because they're close by, and having extra health is super nice. I'll also be getting a few missile packs just to make sure that I don't run out of weapons. That would really suck. You know, we're just gonna play things pretty safe on this run. And that is the end of Cataris. That is one of the longest splits that we spend on any one area, and it's also by far the longest that we spend without an upgrade. We're going to Dairon, which is like, it's I suppose it's also industrial, but it's definitely not like the hot area. Alright. Thankfully, Reed, I'm not too bad at this video game, so enemies shouldn't be ruining my day, especially once I get more combat potential. Like I said, that area, Cataris, is known for having the hardest movement in the entire run. So, now that that's over, there should be less annoying enemies. Unless you're telling me to purposefully encounter some enemies so that Archiethon gets donated some more money. I don't think I'll do that. Or will I? Fair enough. I'm not gonna do that. I still want to have as good of a run as possible here. Okay, so we are going to be moving through Dairon, and up here we have the first of a couple blackout areas. Essentially, in blackout areas, you need to find the power generator, because everything is shut off until you do, including doors, so I can't really go through doors. Thankfully, this is more of a tutorial one. That doesn't count as ruining my day, by the way. It's really a tutorial one, and it's right here. And, yep, I think Samus is just gonna walk up and stick her gun into the hole. I'm sure, like, I really want to, like, meet the person who designed the infrastructure for this planet, because apparently it runs on the assumption that you have an arm cannon that you just carry around with you. And the on switch just involves you like sticking it into a hole. Right, so now that I've turned on the power, I can get our next upgrade, which is the wide beam. Why is the beam wide? It's not actually wide, it's just 3 of them. I don't know why it's called that. But yeah, this is going to be very nice for some damage. It basically triples my damage output, and you can see it opens wide beam doors, because why the heck not? It also opens those wide beam blocks, which are different from doors. Oh, that guy. Okay. I'll leave that up to you for counting if that ruins my day or not. He didn't make me fall all the way down, so I think it's probably fine. This is our first encounter with the Emmy on this planet, which is the Speed Booster. It's one of the scariest Emmys in the overworld because it's really fast. And if you get caught, it's easy to get destroyed by him. Now that we have the wide beams, got that again. We are going to go back to Catarus and go to the central chamber of the Catarus Emmy zone to defeat the Emmy there. We do need wide beam for that, which means that, you know, we can't just go straight there. I don't know which ones are the Power Ranger enemies, but I like that name for them. Metroid typically has, like, enemy names in the lore. This game does not have, like, enemy species names. So I'm open to those as well. And they tend to be pretty silly. In Metroid Prime, one of the enemies is called Zoomers, which I find very funny, especially since they don't go very fast. So you know how it is. Anyway, we are going to go back into the Emmy zone, open up these stupid doors. Oh, I'm going to actually kill one of those just for some health. Oh, he saw me. It's fine. Alright, and here we are at the central chamber. Once again, first phase, just pump them full of missiles. Second phase, beams. However, now that we have the wide beam, I should be able to kill him much faster because, like I said, damage is tripled. Their health pools do increase over time, but that one is one of the easier ones. Alright, and this is one of the easier enemy kills in the game. He's just going to come right up through this hole, and if I get it right, the outer shell should break before he goes under. And I can shoot him as he goes under. Perfect. That was very fast. I'm happy with that. So, as you can see, by that green Emmy going through the little hole, you might know what upgrade we're going to be getting. It's one of the most iconic upgrades in Metroid. I think it's been in every single Metroid game. It's the Morph Ball. The Morph Ball will allow Samus to turn into a ball, which is the most practical way of getting around, I think. I'm pretty sure. Most importantly, it'll mean that she's able to go into holes that are only 1 block tall, which turns out to be pretty practical. Turns out whoever designed the passageways on this planet put a lot of those kinds of pathways in here. So we are going to ball it up for a little bit. Go into this guy's map. And down there, you can see that is a very hot red zone. And if I go in there, I'm going to slowly take damage. Unfortunately, I can't go in there yet. I need to get a suit upgrade that lets me go into the hot temperature zones. So we're going to go down to the opening area for an upgrade that allows us to do that. Well, you know, they make basketballs out of Samus's, like, shoulder pads, so I'm pretty sure Samus is, by definition, ballin'. So, now that we're ballin', we can get this. Like I said, there's lots of backtracking in these games. As Reed eloquently said, it is the Metroidvania. That's why they're called that. So we are going to be able to ball through this. Hopefully, don't touch the E part of shame, because 4 of those equal a 4 of those equal an E-tank, and that is just not worth it. It's so slow. So we're gonna go through the vents where it's so sus. Do a quick purge there. And this is the last of the thermal vents that Samus is going to jam her gun into. Except, uh-oh, this one maybe you should move. This is a classic Metroid escape sequence. So Samus just needs to escape this collapsing area. No big deal. It's happened to her like so many times, she's probably super used to it. But here we go.
This is just like Samus's daily.
Yeah, pretty much. She's probably like late for like the bounty hunters like annual meeting or something. And up here we are going to be getting our first suit upgrade, the Varia suit. The Varia suit will allow Samus to go in the hot areas, which is very nice because we need to go there anyway. I think it might also increase her defense, which is pretty nice. So you'll notice that this area is now spicy, very spicy area. But we're all good now, thankfully. And we are back at the teleporter. Would you look at that? It's almost like it's intended. I have played Hollow Knight. In fact, it's my favorite Metroidvania by far. I do like the backtracking in this game. I think it's well done. But the whole, like, teleporter, elevator, tram between areas, I'm not the biggest fan of. I can see why they did it, but I much prefer, like, the openness of a big map. So we are going to teleport back to where we were on Cataris, and we'll be able to go through that door that I pointed out earlier. The one that had, you know, the really loud roar came out of. Sure, I'm sure that'll be completely fine, and there will be no problems. But the reason why this is reminding you of Hollow Knight is probably because Metroid did it first. So, look at that. Okay, so we're going to... These guys are supposed to be like tough enemies, but turns out you can just deboost them. Deboost right through them. So I'll be bumping into them. And not engaging with the gameplay.
Did we have a moment for a donation?
Yes, actually, maybe wait a little bit, because we do have a boss fight coming up. The boss fights in this game typically are jump scares. They don't really give you a lot of warning. Here's Craig. If you know Metroid, you know Craig, you'll know that he, like, tends to show up in the most random places possible. But this guy's pretty simple. Shoot him so that he opens his mouth, then shoot him again at inside of his mouth, so that it takes damage. And now he has smacked me down here, so I'm going to shoot his belly button in retaliation. I think that's a pretty fair quid pro quo, if I do say so myself. Now he's so angry that he's going to smack the wall, and here's the bar. That's convenient. Quickly try to kill him before knocking me down. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, how nice. He's going to knock me down. Just going to keep thumping him full of missiles. Try to hit his fingernails before I hit him out. And he's dead. And now I think we have time for donation.
Okay. We have $10 from Frozen Flygon saying $10 train for the boss rush. Let's get it. Only a few runs left of Archiethon. Get your donors in if you haven't yet. And we also have $10 from Chuckles jumping on that $10 train. even before I actually read the first donation of it. More bosses equals more Archiethon. Let's see that boss rush.
Nice. So I have now collected the diffusion beam, which is an upgrade to the charge beams. When you fire a charge beam, there is now a sparkly little particle effect around it that is able to hit blobs through walls. Which is very nice because otherwise I'd need to do pseudo waves all the time, and that would be pretty annoying, wouldn't it? So now that I have the diffusion beam, I can take the teleporter back to Dairon, and we are going to be able to move through the area until we get our next upgrade. But I'm sure you are all seeing the loop of this game now. Get an upgrade, go to a place that you've already been, progress a little bit more, etc. We are going to actually be doing a quick little sequence break on that way. That involves a tricky jump. I think this sequence break is intended. Don't quote me on it. But yeah, you'll see it. So this game does have Coyote time. Oh, I missed it. I'm just gonna go back. Even though the various suit makes Samus immune to the hot air, does not make her immune to lava, unfortunately. So just gonna give this one more try. I'm going to reload from the checkpoint, so we probably have time for one more donation.
Yeah, keep getting your donations in for that incentive. Actually, Crab, I was going to ask if you wanted to talk at all about the boss rush incentive, since it is for your run. You want to get people hyped up for that.
Sure. So the boss rush, this game got a free DLC, or I guess you could just call it an update, with a boss rush mode. There we go. That's the jump I'm on. And the reason why I had it as an incentive is simply because a lot of the bosses in the any percent run are either completely skipped or quick killed using upgrades that you're not supposed to have for them. So the boss rush mode is just going to be, rapid fire all the bosses in the entire game. And you'll see how they might look more in a casual run, like with equal upgrades, except obviously still done fast because it's a speed run. I'm just going to be doing normal mode because I don't want it to be so that if I die I need to start over. And yeah, it's just going to be a nice chill thing. And believe me, some of the late game boss fights that I skip are pretty cool and cinematic, so you don't want to miss them.
Yeah, so get in your donations for that if you want to see all of those bosses. We have $20 towards that so far out of the 125 target, and that needs to be met by the end of this run.
Alright, so I now have the grapple beam, which is, thankfully, the first movement ability. I'll be getting a few more abilities that let me move faster, but I'm getting this a little bit earlier than intended. Remember those blue walls that I mentioned earlier with the spider magnet? Turns out they also work for the grapple beam, so it really is just the mechanic from Ori in the Blind Forest. Like, beat for beat, you can walk on the blue walls, then you can grapple to the blue walls. Exactly the same in both games. I just found that pretty funny. But now that we have grapple beam, we are going to go back to our regularly scheduled speed run. And our next upgrade is going to be bombs, which is an upgrade to the morph ball. So we'll be getting that shortly. We are now back in Dairon. And we've got a little bit of movement to go, so maybe... So up here, you do see the first time, I believe, that you see Adam's dead station. Like I mentioned, Adam is waiting for me in a completely different area of the game. Because I skipped that area, I no longer have to talk to him anymore, which is really nice because he's kind of annoying. This is the Emmy zone. Thankfully, the Emmy wasn't anywhere near me, which is a big relief because the speed booster Emmy tends to be pretty annoying. And here's another blackout area. Like I mentioned before, I need to find the power generator in this area to activate all of the doors and stuff. So we've just got a little bit to go through a large room before we get there. I'm gonna try to shoot this blob as many times as I can. I think I got it twice. Those platforms, the way that they work is you just have to stand on them for an amount of time, but you can do whatever you want while you're standing on them, including shoot. So shooting on it while I'm activating the platform is just free. And I'm just gonna avoid these dogs. And up here is the bomb. So the bomb is essentially a little line that Samus can leave while she's in morph ball form. They open bomb doors. Wow, that's a big shock. But they also have a little mechanic where if you are on top of them in morph ball form as they explode, they send Samus upwards in a little hop. So most of the time, I do not want this to happen because it interrupts my movement and it's pretty annoying. Also, everybody say hello to the experiment. We'll be saying hi to him again shortly. But if you see me jumping around in morph ball form after leaving bombs, that's just why, because I don't want the bomb to explode and send me bouncing. Coming up here, you'll have a preview of the next area that we're going to. It's called Verenia, and it is the water level. And I know everybody loves water levels because of how slow they are. Did I say loved? I think I meant hate. Thankfully, in this run, because I have grabbed... Yes, we are actually skipping experiment. We're going to be saying hi to him again in that room, but we are not going to be fighting him unless we reach the boss Russian Center. Then we'll be fighting him. But in any percent, we can completely skip him, and I'll explain that as we get closer. As I was saying, the grapple beam is going to be super useful up here in Berenia because there are shortcuts that you can open with the grapple beam that let you skip long underwater movement sections. And because I got the grapple beam early, I can just take those shortcuts without doing those long areas to begin with, which, you know, is very, very convenient. The world record route actually doesn't get grapple beam early, so they don't have grapple beam for this area, which is very interesting. But this is like the second fastest route, much safer for marathon, and we have grapple beam, so you don't need to watch me walk through a bunch of random water for no reason. We're just gonna grapple up here. Let me up. Why did that take so long? I've never seen that before. That's very strange. Got a little bit more movement, and I'm actually going to take a little bit of a save break here, in a save room around here, because this game unfortunately has the tendency to crash sometimes. Thankfully, it hasn't really been a huge problem for me, but I'd rather save and not need it than crash and lose all of my progress. So I'm just going to take a save real quick in there. It shouldn't affect the time very much. Oops. I'm just going to kill this guy for the health. I don't really want to die, as I mentioned. Here's another one of these grapple beam skips that I mentioned earlier. And this is going to let us get the flash shift. Flash Shift is another upgrade in the category of the Phantom Cloak, except this one we're going to be using constantly. It is a very, very nice movement ability, because it just projects you forward a set amount of space. And I've mostly just been running around so far. So this is a very nice change in pace. You might have also noticed that I was able to get through a new kind of door with them. Big surprise that Flash Shift works with doors. I think we have a 100% door opened to new upgrade ratio. We do have a little bit of a puzzle. I need to blow up the blobs on both of these sides to get the water level down to where I need to be. There is an upgrade that I'll be getting later that allows me to move through water as if it were normal air, but that is a much later ability, and as it stands right now, my underwater movement abilities are pretty limited. Oops, that did not go through. Okay, so now that I've gotten Flash Shift, which I'm going to start using a lot more up in Dairon, I am able to get the next Emmy upgrade, which is the Speed Booster, which is the fastest way to get around. It's pretty situational, unfortunately, so I won't be able to use it everywhere, but everywhere where I can use it, I will. And if you're familiar with Metroid, Speed Booster is another one of those classic abilities that's in almost every game. And it has some pretty interesting tech too, which I'll explain when we get there. But first, we need to go through the Emmy Zone and fight you. So you will be seeing the utility of Flash Shift, just letting me get around to places much faster. Alright, so this is a scripted segment where the Emmy starts off knowing where you are. And I'm pretty much going to have to evade it for the duration of this area until I reach the Essential Chamber, which is coming up soon. Just gonna do a little Flash Shift skip to get up here early, and we're here. Strategy for these fights is still currently the same. It will change once I get the Speed Booster, but for now, it's still just mashing and dodging. And there we go. That was a pretty clean fight. Alright, so now that I have the Omega Blaster, I'm going to be going after the yellow Emmy, and this is one of the harder Emmys in the game, because Speed Booster means it goes very fast, and I have a pretty limited amount of time to be able to shoot its cover off. We'll see if that's good. I think it is. It's going to be close. Alright, perfect. Now I can just slide under and go over here. And that's the kill. Very clean. Happy with that. So Samus is going to absorb the Speed Booster here. And I will explain how the Speed Booster works. So if you have a long stretch of flat ground in front of you, you are able to charge up what's called a Shine Spark. And you can see me doing that up here. I'm going to charge up a Speed Booster to get through this wall. And you see I go much faster, but there is another use of Speed Booster that is less intuitive. I just got that missile upgrade as a safety. If you are currently in a Speed Booster, you can press down to store a Shine Spark, and that allows you to boost in any direction that you choose very, very quickly. It also lets you ignore gravity, which is pretty nice. So there will be times that Shine Sparks are required to get around. So got a little bit more speed booster movement up here, and we will be approaching a new area. And the speed booster actually demarcates around the halfway point of the run, and a little bit of a shift in how the levels are structured. So far, I've been kind of going from area to area, backtracking a lot, getting new upgrades. But in the second half of the game, there's going to be much more mini-boss fights, various skips, and mostly just a high density of upgrades. I'm going to be getting upgrades much more quickly in the later half of the game, and some of them will be less essential. Like, they won't be like speed booster tier, if you know what I'm saying. But they still will be required to beat the game. So up here we have a little bit of a story piece. This is like the first plot point in the entire game so far. But it's all told through cutscenes, which I'm going to be skipping. So I'm just going to give you the spark notes. So I meet this guy named Quiet Robe, and he's dead. That's it. You can see his dead body in the background. I'm just going to kill this boss with a few uses of the speed booster. Alright. But thankfully, before he died, Quiet Robe was able to open a door for me. And the door is in Verenia. So I need to go all the way back across the entire map to go through the door that he opened for me. So there is just going to be a lot of movement coming up here. We might have time for a few donations as I move back through Dairon.
So much of this game is just about opening doors.
So true.
Yeah, we have $10 from GoofyGoober69 saying, "Did I hear $10 train? Yo, GL Crab." Thank you. And that is, of course, going towards the boss rush incentive. That brings us up to $30 out of the required 125. We have less than half of this run left now. We need to meet that incentive. Get those donations in.
Alright, so we are going to be going back through the Dairon area. You have already seen all of these rooms, but it's going to be a little bit faster now that I have the flash shift. Thankfully, because these rooms aren't that interesting, frankly. Hello, Experiment, again. This is the last time we'll see you. We will not be fighting you. He actually does this really cool thing where he remakes the entire opening area pretty much and turns it into a frozen area. And I guess he does that by like chowing down on the energy supply. So we're not actually gonna stop him. So he's gonna lead a very fulfilling life and not be murdered like most of the rest of the bosses.
If you want to see the experiment for, though, donate for that incentive.
True. It is also by far, in my humble opinion, the coolest boss fight in the whole game. So, you know, you don't want to miss it. So up here is Verenia. We have already been here, but we are going to be moving through to a new area that was locked behind a massive blast door. I'll point it out, but we did go through that room once before. Instead of going down up here, we're going to be using Speed Booster to go up and over through this fan. I think fans are kind of door. I think you could make that claim. Do you think that's fair? I think that's fair. I think fans can count as a door. Up here, we just went through that giant blast door. That was the door that was so nicely open for us. And we're going to be up here, skipping another boss fight. This boss fight is the underwater boss fight, so keeping with the theme of making the underwater things skippable. We're going to be doing another pseudo beam like the ones that I mentioned before. Except this one is, instead of performed by sliding and jumping, it's going to be sliding into this corner and turning. Let's see if I can get it. That's one. I need to get it twice. There we go. That's the skip, and I'm just going to enter cloak mode here because these enemies are super annoying. You can see that one almost hit me all the way back down. Thankfully, they didn't. So Reed is safe from making another $5 donation. And we're going to be accessing a new area up here, Gavara, which is like the foresty, overgrown area. It's pretty cool. It's one of my favorite areas in the game. And home to a couple more sequence breaks and skips, which is always nice. It's always the highlight of a Metroidvania run, I think. I don't think you can make the claim that many of the enemies in Metroid are goofy goobers. I don't think so. I think they're all pretty serious. Alright, so coming up here, we have another mini-boss fight that comes out of nowhere. This one, I'm going to be charging up a speed booster to go into the fight, because the speed booster will do a lot of damage right off the bat. It won't kill him right away, but I'm just going to pump him full of missiles for the rest of it. And you can also see kind of how useful Flash Hit is during boss fights. It's really just a multi-purpose ability. Lets me keep my distance, like I'm playing Metroid in Smash, or Samus in Smash. I'm zoning. Fun little skip there. Oh, something else I forgot to mention. In addition to the opening up that door, White Robe did deactivate all of the enemies for me, which is very nice of him, especially considering that I need to defeat the enemies to beat the game. When I said nice, I meant inconvenient and not nice. I need to go reactivate them somehow. So we will be doing that, but quickly we're going to make a pit stop for an upgrade here. And the upgrade will be the Super Missile, which is just a very simple missile damage upgrade. It'll let me open Super Missile doors too, which is still a theme of this game. You can see a Super Missile door right there in the rock.
I'm looking forward to Samus's massive tier list of all the different doors.
Oh, I can make a tier list of doors. Maybe I'll do that after the run. That sounds like fun. I can tell you what's at the bottom, and that's those stupid wide beam doors. Remember the block-looking doors? Those are really annoying to hit. Alright, so coming up is another area, except this area is special because it's a one-time area. You can see that it's really small, and it also is kind of important for reasons that I will explain as we get there. But, yeah, we are just going to be heading to Elam now. Maybe we have time for a donation?
While Crab and Samus are opening a wide variety of literal doors, you, by donating to the Palestine Children's Relief Fund, can open figurative doors for all the children they can help with that money. The PCRF provides humanitarian aid and free medical care to thousands of children yearly who lack local access to care within their local healthcare system. Their mission is to work towards a world where all children in the Middle East have access to quality medical care, humanitarian aid, and specialized surgical procedures. For more information on their work, visit pcrf.net.
That was a really good segue. I like that. Also, here, you see the main enemy for the second half of the game are X-Parasites. And if you know anything about Metroid lore, you know these guys are bad news. They're essentially body stealers, like from the movie The Thing. If they touch you, they steal your body, kill you, and then they can look like you. They also like upgrade you and make you more dangerous as an enemy. Thankfully, Samus is immune to them because she has been inoculated against the virus with Metroid DNA. And I know this is all just like a bunch of fancy words, but believe me, it makes sense. And this place is pretty much completely infested with X-Parasites, which is bad news because they're supposed to be they're supposed to be pretty much extinct. So this is not good, no point. And uh-oh, I think Samus is just now realizing that she left the door open. I think now is the time that she realized that she left the door open. So we'll check on that door again soon. But first we've got a boss fight against a Chozo X-Warrior. Chozo are like these bird warrior sage things. And the fact that this one is an X-Parasite is very bad. It means that something went horribly wrong here. And, sorry, I'm just mashing really hard, but yeah, Chozo are not supposed to be X. This is like the worst case scenario. I'm gonna parry this guy until he goes down, and there it goes. Alright, now that that guy's dead, we are going to check on that door that we may or may not have left open. Oh! Yep, Samus left the door open, and that all of the X are escaping into the world. That's bad. I think maybe we should do something about that. So let's go back to Gaveron and see how bad the damage is. Also, I need to remind myself, this is the only tram ride with a cutscene that I need to skip, so I just need to be on my plus and minus. Okay, go ahead, Pocket.
We have $5 here from Julot, GL Metroid Crab. That brings it up to $35 towards the $125 for the boss rush incentive. And as pointed out in chat, we are less than $40 away from beating the total raised in Archiethon V.
Very excited. Hopefully we get there. It's always good to meet a milestone. Alright, and up here we can see, yes, every enemy on this planet is now an X-Parasite, which is very bad. Also, we didn't see it, but Quiet Rove's body got reanimated by an X-Parasite, and all of the enemies are active again. Which... Oh! I did not see that guy. Thankfully, I was able to parry him. That is a very, very small window. I was lucky to make it, but... Yeah, that guy kind of snuck up on me. I will not lie. Coming up here, we have another major sequence break. You're not supposed to be able to fight the enemy at this part of the game. But we are going to sequence break so that we can. Oops. Oh, not again. Alright. Leave me alone, please. Yeah, this might count as ruining my day. You can see that this enemy freezes you when he looks at you for a split second. Oh, my god. And I parried it again. I'm good. This is amazing. Alright. Wow. So we are going to do an underwater bomb jump. So normally, you can jump with bombs however high your heart desires. But underwater, you can't do such things. Unless you confuse the game by doing a bomb jump and then unmorphing mid-jump. That lets you make one bomb jump under the water and lets you up. Also, there I will explain what I just did. If you bring a Shine Spark into the room with a central chamber boss, you can get rid of the armor very quickly by just Shine Sparking into the boss. So this is all going all according to plan. This enemy, despite being so intimidating, is one of the easier ones. So Samus is just going to do some pull-ups over here while she waits for the blue enemy to show up. Maybe try some target practice with the door. And there he is. I am going to wait a little bit to let the enemy get a bit closer, because if you shoot the cap off too early, he will go back down, which is not where we want him. We want him up. So there we go. That was a good kill, good split. Despite me getting caught by the enemy twice, I was able to escape somehow, which is very nice, avoiding a game over twice. And I will stress that parrying enemies is not easy. I was pretty lucky slash goated with the sauce there. Although, I think Pocket is right. That does increment the day ruined counter. That was pretty awkward. Alright, so now that we have the Ice Beam, we can open up these doors. They may look like weird little plant things, but trust me, they're doors. They're functionally just ice missile doors. And we are going to go through this area. Oh, hi mini-boss. I'm just going to go over you if that's okay. I don't think he was okay with it, but he didn't really have a choice to matter. And we're going to be going to our second to last new area up here. We're taking a tram to Perennia, which is like the palace, like upper class area, I guess, of this planet. And we are getting into, you know, some tougher encounters with enemies, more platforming in rooms. You know the deal. And Frenia is actually home to one of my favorite boss fights in the game, which we will see in a bit. But up here, we have one of the biggest skips in the game, and the skip that makes this route really worth it. This is early space jump. So, if I parry into this wall, I can set up a pseudo wave that is very specific in both angle and time. So I'm going to set up my angle to be perfect here, and also wait for the animation cycle to be just right. I was off by a little bit, so I'm just going to set it up again. There we go. You want the diffusion beam to perfectly scatter so that it barely hits the block through the floor. You need to wait for the animation timer to be just right to get that to work. But now I have the space jump much earlier than you're supposed to have it. Your space jump gives you infinite air jumps, which you might be able to tell is supposed to be a super late game ability. You're supposed to get a whole separate upgrade that gives you a single air jump. So being able to get this early is super nice. This is also the one practical use of the Ice Beam, freezing that guy and using him as a platform to get through that secret little tunnel. Going through this... Maybe these count as like dev doors. I think it's more of a like secret passage to get through Perennia much faster than I would normally be able to. Keep going down. And now... I said that we weren't going to be doing too much backtracking, but we do actually need to go all the way back down to the starting area to get one more upgrade from down there. And this is where, remember the experiment guy that I was talking about earlier? If you take the wrong elevator down to the starting area, that is what triggers that boss to go to where he's supposed to be and freeze the entire opening area. However, I'm going to take an elevator down that is not the one that the game expects, and it will cause the boss to not move down there yet. So I'm going to be able to get through there without needing to fight the boss, which is very convenient, because getting to the boss and fighting the boss is long and slow, and this is a speedrun, not a slow run. This is also going to mark a pretty long sequence of just teleporting to places and moving through areas to another teleporter. So after we get this upgrade, I will need to go through several teleporters to get where I need to go. But this upgrade should be pretty fast once I get down to the starting area again.
Well, if I can jump in with a donation, we have seen the return of Goofy Goober 69 with another $10 on the $10 train, and the comment, "Go Crab go, Boss Rush, go go go, Long live Archie, go 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 go, Crab emoji, parrot emoji." Sentiments I think we can all agree with.
Yes. I particularly like the Go 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 part. Oh my goodness. Hello, GDQ.
Thank you, GDQ, for the raid. This is Archiethon, a speedrunning marathon hosted by Celeste runners, playing other speed games in unique Celeste categories, being hosted here. This year, we are raising money for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund, which provides humanitarian aid and free medical care to thousands of children yearly who lack local access to care within their local healthcare system. Their mission is to work towards a world where all children in the Middle East have access to quality medical care, humanitarian aid, and specialized surgical procedures. And you can go to their website for more information. Someone just dropped the link in the chat. We are also raising money for a couple of incentives right now. There is a possible boss rush that we can have at the end of this Metroid Dread run, and a bid war for the following Hollow Knight run over whether we will kill Myla or not. So if you want to get some money in for those.
Nice. So I have just been doing some movement up to this next ability, doing a few more underwater bomb jumps, which I explained before. Like I said, if you do a bomb jump underwater and unmorph it in the middle of the jump, you can fuse the game, which allows you to get one underwater bomb jump. So now I can get Screw Attack, which is, once again, a very iconic item. It allows you to do damage in a spin jump, and basically makes Samus invincible during spin jumps too, which is very nice. I also, to get up there, I need to do a very glitchy jump that like barely lets you get out of the water by scraping against the side of the wall there. So and you also need to do it twice, so very nice that I was able to get that quickly. And now we are just going to head back up to the top of the area. I'm gonna do a little bit of setup to get this here. That area is pretty annoying. If you touch the bottom of the slide, it does put you into the sliding action, which I want it to be going up, not down. So that's not exactly what I want. You might remember this teleporter from after we got the Varia suit. We're going to be using it again to get to Cataris, and don't blink, because this is the shortest amount of time that we spend in an area over the entire course of the game. But we do have a few more teleportals to go before our next ability. We're going to be jumping around from location to location. So, yeah, if we have any more donations to read or information about the charity while I'm teleporting, now would be a good time.
Yeah. No, I just accidentally scrolled up my charity bloat. The PCRF is the main non-profit arranging free medical care for sick and injured children from the Middle East outside of their homeland, regardless of religion or politics. Since 1992, they have sent over 2,000 children from the Middle East to hospitals in the USA, Europe, and Asia for free care that they cannot access at home. There's more information on the PCRF's website. This is just one of the many good things they're doing, which we are supporting by raising money through this event.
Alright, so up here in Gavaran, we do have our next boss fight. This boss fight is kind of like... This is the troll boss fight of the run, I'll say. It fakes you out twice by looking like a normal enemy, and then a mini-boss, and then the real boss. So you need to kill all three. And there is also a quick kill that you can do with just using Speed Booster to kill him. I'm gonna go for it, but if I don't get it, it won't be the end of the world, because the boss does go down pretty quickly. However, we are going to be doing a quick pit stop in a different area before this boss fight. We're going to be going back to Berenia to get the gravity suit, which will allow us to move normally in the water. And more importantly, it'll allow us to move through those minty fresh areas that you saw me going through in the opening area. Those blue rooms with icicles aren't just for show. They hurt Samus just the same as hot rooms. I was able to get through a few of the shorter ones to get to Screw Attack, but there will be longer icy rooms that I need to get through while constantly taking damage, and the gravity suit will be very nice for that. So, also to get the gravity suit from this side using this teleporter, there is a fun little dev secret path that I will be taking because it's faster, and it's a Shine Spark puzzle, which are pretty infamous for being difficult in all Metroid games, but this game in particular, I had some trouble with this casually. So I'm gonna need to charge up a Shine Spark on this short area, bring it all the way down here, use it diagonally to get to here, store it again, and chain it, use it here, chain it again, and then all the way down here. And that's the puzzle. It took me so long casually to do. And you do get a missile tank as a reward, which is a pretty nice reward, I will say. But now I can go through on the left through the secret path. And up here, Samus is going to do, I think, her favorite pastime, since she does this a lot, other than opening doors. It's property damage. We're going to be putting that big thing on the bottom for some reason. I don't know why. But up here is going to be the gravity suit, which is the final suit upgrade of the run. We'll let Samus walk normally underwater, go into the minty fresh areas, and generally just look really snazzy with the purple. I don't think it opens any doors, but going into minty fresh areas kind of counts as a door, you will say. So we are going to charge up a Shine Spark over here, head up, grab another missile tank, and up here we have another one of those jump scare mini bosses. They really don't give you a lot of warning with the bosses in this game. I would normally heal up before now, but thankfully I have pretty much full health. And Samus is actually going to take some cues from, I think, her favorite video game character, Sonic. Now that she has the Screw Attack, she can do some fun little Sonic strats, jumping into them, doing damage. It looks like it's doing damage to me, but I promise it's doing more damage to them. And there we go, they're dead. So now that I've gotten the gravity suit, this is the last time that I need to backtrack to one of the areas from the first half of the game. The rest of the game will be pretty much entirely these areas on the upper half of the map. And you can see on the map, we're getting pretty close to Samus' ship, which is our end goal, of course. We're late for the Bounty Hunter yearly convention. We really just need to get off this planet, because we're already late enough. We're going back up to Gavaran. We're going to fight that troll boss, like I mentioned before. And the reason why we need to fight him is actually pretty funny. We just need to go through his room. He's guarding an upgrade that we don't need at all. It is not required to beat the game. We just need to go through the room that he's in, and that involves beating him, unfortunately. I'm gonna open this room, open that door from across the room. Use a speed booster to get up here. And up here is the boss. Fall through the floor, and here we go. There's the enemy. Enemy's already dead. Charge up a speed booster to kill this guy. Oh, he turned around. Bad luck. I'll just have to kill him normally. You don't want him to turn around there. I think I charged up the speed booster a little on the early side, unfortunately. There we go. Alright, and deboost into him. And I'm just going to do the rest of the damage with missiles. That one speed booster did do most of his health. I just need to go ahead and finish him off. He should go down very shortly. There we go. Turns into a little bit of a blob. Don't worry about it. Just gonna Sonic into him. There we go. It does glitch the game But I don't know if that's because you don't beat him or because of the method that you use to skip him just being really glitchy. I'm not super informed on that because I've never skipped him before, because why would I? You do get the cross bomb from it, which is an upgrade to the bomb that makes it work like 5 bombs, kind of. That's why it's not required, because in any situation that you use a cross bomb, you could just use 5 bombs. It's a little bit slower, but you know, we are going to the final area of the game, Hanubia. This is where Samus's ship is. We won't be staying here for very long. We need to dip back down to Ferenia to kill the Emmy there. And also do one other boss fight there. But the rest of the game will just be this final area, back down to Ferenia, back up here, and then we will begin the final sequence. Which, if you're familiar with Metroid, you will know the final sequence. And if you aren't familiar, you'll see soon. Just gonna speed boost through here. Use a cross bomb. Yeah, go ahead, Papa.
Reminder that if anyone in the audience wants to see some of the many boss fights that Crab has skipped in the course of this 80% run, you have until the end of the run to donate to meet the boss rush incentive. We are, I believe, at 45 out of the required $125. So you have until the end of the run to get the additional 80.
Get those in. You wouldn't want to miss it. There, I did the last pseudo wave of the run, except it's not quite a pseudo wave, it's a pseudo grapple. I grabbed that grapple block from the wrong side by sliding into the wall. Just like a normal pseudo wave, except with the grapple beam instead of a normal beam. So that skips most of that area, which is pretty nice. And we're going to clear up a bunch of stuff in Ferenia that we have skipped so far. I'm pretty sure, I know definitely you can do the boss in this area sooner than I am, and I think you might also be able to do the Emmy sooner as well. It's just really convenient to do it now, so that's why the Rev does it now. We've just got some movement, and we've got plenty of Emmy zone movement coming up as well, but Samus is really fast now with gravity suit underwater, so it's not really too much of a problem. You may have noticed that the gimmick of this Emmy is that he knows where you are 100% of the time. You can't escape him. Anything you do notifies. And he can also see through walls, that really long beam. So that's not exactly ideal. But I got good spawns. The Emmy is really nowhere near me. So we're just going to keep going through the area. And we're going to pick up one of the final upgrades of the run. And also one of the final regular story bosses of the run. It's my favorite boss, SQ. However, you won't be able to enjoy SQ for very long. You can see that I'm charging up a speed booster into the fight. And then we're just gonna go with some classic Sonic strats. And, oh, it's dead already. That was fast. That crackling electrical shield around it is supposed to block it from all damage, but turns out the screw attack doesn't care about that. And now we get the Storm Missile, which is a very cool upgrade. I think it's unique to Metroid Dread. And it allows you to shoot multiple missiles at the same time, focused on several different targets. So you'll see an example of it by, you guessed it, me opening a door with it. Because not even the cool missile upgrades are escaped from just being glorified keys to these doors. Okay, so we are heading up to the final bits of the game. We have another little boss fight here. We have about 15-20 minutes left in the run. So that's all the time you have for the boss fight incentive, boss rep incentive. So get those in. And most of the rest of the game is actually just mini boss fights like this. One more Emmy, and then the final boss. So you don't have long to go.
Yeah, but just remember, every little bit helps, even if you can only donate $1. We have a lot of people in chat right now, especially after that big GDQ raid. If all of you just donate $1, we will blast through that incentive and raise a huge amount more money for the PCRF. So just give whatever you can, and it all goes to a good cause.
Oops, I did not sweep all of those. What? Hello? Okay, this doesn't count as an enemy, so I don't think we can give it a name. But it definitely ruined my day. I'm gonna try this one more time. There we go. Storm Missile can be a little janky sometimes. And this is going to be the final real Emmy area. There will be one further Emmy area after this, but it doesn't really count. You'll see why. And it is also the hardest Emmy to defeat in the whole game. I will explain that once we finish the Central Chamber boss. But thankfully, the Central Chamber boss is the easiest one. One speed booster to break the armor, one screw attack to beat the brain, and it's dead. Okay, so this area is supposed to be like a test of all of the various upgrades that Samus has collected. Trying to play like a cat and mouse game with this Emmy. I am going to pipe down a little bit because it is difficult, but I'm going to try to kill the Emmy early on in the maze, where there isn't a lot of space for me to maneuver. So I'm going to try to get that done. I think I set everything up properly. Just see if I can execute this last part properly. Oh wow, that was really close. Okay, and it's dead. Whew. Did you see how close that guy got to me? Wow. Thankfully, though, I did not get a game over, and we are safe to continue moving on now that I have the wave beam. You saw me talking about those pseudo waves I skipped earlier that let me jankily shoot through walls. Well, this is the upgrade that just lets you shoot through walls. So no more pseudo waves required because I have normal wave beam. So we're just going to pretty much clean up. I have all of the upgrades that I need to start the final sequence of the game. I'm gonna head to the last area, and we'll see where that gets us. I'm going to have a quick drink of water real quick, if there are any more donations.
Yeah, well, once again, keep getting those donations in. We don't have long to meet that incentive, and it all goes to the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. Over the past 6 years, the PCRF has enabled over 500 medical teams, consisting of thousands of volunteers, to travel to the Middle East and treat thousands of children. PCRF is the main humanitarian relief organization providing surgery in local hospitals by sending volunteer doctors and nurses to operate on children, as well as providing training and experience to local staff. They're doing a lot of great work. We can support it, and we can also get to see more cool gaming. But you don't have long to get those donations in if you want to see that boss rush.
Yep, we only have like 10 minutes left, so... Alright, so this is supposedly an Emmy, but it's not really. You can actually see the Emmy's dead body in the background, which is the second time that this has happened. And this is another harder version of the Chozo X Warrior that I fought earlier on. I'm going to make use of the Storm Missile to shoot through this shield phase. The goal is to get him to switch forms so that he drops his shield early. I did have to parry the shield there, unfortunately, but that's not the deal. And I'm sorry for the lag, by the way. Something about this boss fight in particular taking place in an enemy zone makes it extremely lag. But thankfully, we are through with it now. And we only have one more mini boss fight with another Chozo X before the final boss. This is the last power-up of the game as well. It's the Power Bomb. This is entirely scripted, so I didn't really need to do anything to get it, just beat the boss. But yeah, final upgrade. I'm now fully equipped, and we can go take down this game. Power Bomb is cool because it's basically a nuke. It upgrades your bomb and lets you place down something that basically destroys everything in the room. Super fun to use, but kind of impractical. You only get 2. You'll see me use it very shortly to do some more property damage. Boom. And once more to get through this broken bridge too. You can see we did not need to do the central chamber boss. It has already been deactivated for us, thankfully. That was the central chamber right there. On through here, and we will be coming up very shortly on the last final boss, or the last mini boss of the run. Excuse me. I do need to refill my weapons here because you only get 2 power bombs, you need 3 to get through. Gotta refill. Going up here, and let's got a little bit more movement. It'll be right through this. And here we go. Very similar strats to the first one, using the Storm Missile to try to get shots in around the shield, using Flat Shift to get further away. He is going to do the shield very early. Once the shield's down, instead of using the Silk Bird, just go through this with the DPS is slightly higher. If you're paying attention to my health, you may notice that these bosses do over an E-tank and a half of damage per hit, which is kind of absurd, especially considering the amount of damage that the final boss does per hit. You might wonder if one of these guys might make a better, evil leader than the final bosses. So this Chozo was guarding the capsule to the super secret final area of the game. Turns out, final boss is Samus's kind of bird dad, not really, but a little bit. And is also very evil. And what do evil birds do? They live in space stations above the planet, of course. So we're just gonna go up there and, I don't know, kill him, I guess. Seems like a pretty reasonable thing to do. Alright. Time to go kick some bird dad butt. But of course, before that, we're just gonna do a little bit more property damage. Yeah, this is a spoiler coming up here. If you are not already thoroughly spoiled by the entire game. I will be skipping the cutscene. I'll try to skip it as soon as possible so you don't see any of it. Alright, that was perfect. And here we are at the fight. A lot of this fight is just all about spacing yourself away from the boss, getting consistent damage in with beams, and hoping that he does specific attacks exactly when you want him to happen. This is maybe a little early, but I guess we'll see. Okay, so that was the first phase. This is the second phase, which is very similar to the first, except he has this like gold armor around him that basically blocks all attacks. I can't do any damage to him right now, so I'm just going to play the waiting game until he becomes over. If I did enough damage in phase 1, I only need to parry him once before he decides to move on to phase 3. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get it, so I'm going to have to parry him one more time before he decides to move on. So we're just going to wait for that to happen. Should be any time now. There we go. Alright, so this should be the phase transition. Everything went according to plan. Yep, there we go. And, of course, birds have wings. I don't know where this guy's wings were before. They were probably, like, under his armor or something. But now he's actually using them. You can cheese that attack a little bit by doing a melee and just diving right under it. Apparently, our bird dad is a little bit dumb and doesn't know how to aim. So we're just going to keep pumping from forward missiles as this is happening. Dodging them more, and here we're on phase 4. He has lost his wings again. This time, Samus ripped them off his body, which is pretty badass, I think. And this phase is very similar to phase 1, except he's got a few more attacks, and it's just generally longer. This is going to be super fun. We're getting there. Most of the time, I think the boss ends on a parry. Sometimes, if you meet a damage threshold, it'll end the boss early, just like that. But most of the time, it'll wait for a cutscene. And there we go. Okay, so remember that classic Metroid escape that we had earlier? This is going to be a bigger one, but first, we need to fall all the way back down from the space station back to the surface of the planet. Because Samus went a little crazy, blew up the station, you know, her bird dad got turned into an X, but I think he's friendly. I actually think he's friendly. I'm not going to hit him. Actually, I'm going back on that. I think he's angry and he's going to kill me. The reason why I'm doing that is because this is entirely scripted. You can't kill him before that exact moment there, so it doesn't actually matter how much I shoot him. Alright, so just gonna skip this cutscene, and I have 3 minutes. Uh-oh. Unfortunately, in this section, you lose the ability to use the flash shift, which is quite sad, as I have been using it throughout the entire game to go fast. So Samus is mostly gonna have to go back to walking. I'll try to use the speed booster where I can, but this platforming is pretty dense. I won't really be able to speed boost through very much of it. Let me through the hole. Go. Oh, thank you. Just keep going through this area. Everyone's panicking. Everything's blowing up. Last chance for the boss rush. We can do this. Got like 1 minute left for last minute donations.
We have a $15 donation from me saying boss rush question mark.
Question mark? Hope so.
And
We're going to go.
$5 per enemy that is ruined Crab's Day. If anyone wants to join me on that, I know Reed said they would donate $5 for each ruined day earlier.
I'm pretty happy with only 3 ruined days, to be honest. That's a pretty low number of ruined days for my book. Alright, and that's time. The in-game time will be coming up. It will be longer than the actual amount of time, because I have no idea how this game keeps track of time. Only $25 away?
We have $30 from Reed saying it was gonna be $5 per rune, but Crab is so good that I just had to up it to 10. Let's see that boss rush happen. I believe we have now passed our donation total from Archiethon 2. Yep.
Wow, that's a big milestone. Alright. So let's just go through all these rewards that I got for beating the game so well. Alright. So, are we good for the boss rush?
We are still $25 short of meeting the boss rush incentive.
Alright. Well, either way, thank you all for having me. This was lots of fun. This is my first Archiethon as a solo runner. I hope you all enjoyed. Metroid Dread is a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that we'll get more Metroid content from Nintendo soon. Thanks, everyone. Shoutouts to Carrie and Metagloria for playing this game around the same time as I did. It was a lot of fun to, play along with them. Also just being big Metroidvania fans. Also just shoutouts to the CelesteCommunity, and in particular the bingo community, for being such a big part of my life. I really wouldn't be the same person without them. And also thanks to all the Archie-lings for just making this happen. It was a lot of fun. I think that's all I got. Sure, yeah. So the boss rush was added in an update to the game a few months after it came out. Essentially, it just allows you to go through all of the bosses individually. Oh, incentive met.
Yeah,
is that an incentive met?
We have a $25 donation from Ellen Jacks with the comment, And with that, we have met the incentive.
Thanks, Jax. I owe you one. Alright, so this is going to be the boss rush. It'll be 12 bosses from the game, mini bosses and full bosses, including some ones that I skipped and some ones that I quick killed. So I'm just going to take this fun, try not to die. If I do die, no big deal. I can just restart the boss that I died on. So, yeah, here we go. This is also going to be normal difficulty. I don't know if I mentioned this, but my speedrun is on rookie difficulty just because it gives you a few more missiles. That will not be the case, so all of these boss fights will be slightly harder. Oh my goodness, I just went through that guy's tail. Did you see that? That is not supposed to happen. This is just an any percent boss, though. If you remember Corpheus, the invisible guy. He's a friend. Oh. Alright. Gonna deboost again here. Alright, and that's the first boss down. Next boss will be the Artarius Central unit after Kraid. Sorry. Next boss is Kraid. I forgot that this is in such a weird order. Kraid is also an 80% boss. I'll be beating him very similarly to how I beat him, 20%. Give me more fingernails. I want fingernails. No! Alright, he's gonna be a combo. Fingernails is the much faster attack because it's really hard to hit this guy when he's on the mix. Okay, I think he heard what I said. He just wants to be a pain. Alright. There we go. Time for belly button shooting again. I'm going to try to avoid taking as much damage as possible because my health does carry over between bosses in this move. And health refills are pretty limited. So I'm going to do my best to not get hit like I just got hit there. If you can hear me mashing, because I'm mashing pretty hard. Turbo controllers are actually allowed in regular speedrunning. I don't know if they're allowed during boss run. I know that the rules are different. They might be more allowed. I know turbo controllers are allowed with 12 hertz. Oh, goodness. With 12 hertz for normal speedruns. They might be allowed with higher hertz or lower hertz for boss runs. Raid's dead. I don't have a lot of health, but thankfully the central unit is not too difficult. Alright, so we're just gonna pump him forward. Oh, that melee did not go through. Alright, that's the central unit down, and up next we have the first boss that I skipped, Drogiga, you know, whatever. This is the underwater one, and it's actually a very interesting boss fight because it's more of a puzzle than an actual DPS race. I need to get him to move out of the way so that I can drain the water in this room by utilizing the grapple beam to hit these generators. Oh, good. So it is not actually possible to one cycle this guy, as far as I know. This will likely be a 2 cycle. Oh, do not want to get hit by that. It's okay, not a big deal. Try to 2 cycle. Alright, that was a good 2 cycle. Okay, so Drogiga is down, and we are on to the first Robo Chozo Soldier. This is the one that I use Speed Booster to do a lot of damage to early on. That is not on the cards here, so I have to be a bit more careful with my... Oh, and a jet. That's okay. In fact, dying to that I might even be faster than trying to avoid all his damage, because if you die in this mode, you do get a full health refill. So, taking the slight death time is probably worth it in the long run, just for the refill. Although, if I make it through this boss fight without getting hit, that would be pretty pointless. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to try to learn to use the same attacks in a loop. And there we go. Okay, so after this, we do have SQ, which is the boss that I did very late in the run last time. Not so late this time. And I also don't have the tools that let me quick kill him last time. So I'm going to have to actually avoid the attacks, actually respect the shield, and try to get as many missiles in during the phase as really vulnerable. Okay, that was actually a really good time. I'm happy with that. You can see that I actually killed the boss right before the shield went back up. Alright, so that's SQ. And next, oh, sorry about that. Next is the Experiment, and this is by far the coolest, most cinematic boss fight in the entire game. It takes place in the freaking power generator of this planet. He shoots goo at you. He takes up half the screen. You know, oops, Okay, do more than this one attack. I was hyping you up, man. Oh, come on. Okay. He's already in phase 2. Go. Now it's time to run. What's the Sonic game that's like this? Is it like Sonic Brothers? I feel like there's a Sonic game. I'm going to try to kill him with the speed booster. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to kill him, but that's okay. Just a few more attacks should get him. Yep, that's it. Nice. Don't mind too much the best time counter. It's actually really out of date for some reason. I don't really know why it's so weird with updating the times in this mode, but it just doesn't like saving them for some reason. I'm gonna try to avoid doing Sonic strats if I can, just because bumping into them does damage me, and I don't really want that to happen. How did that hurt? So I'm just gonna have to babysit them, and hopefully not die in the process. What? What even hit me? Oh my god. Alright. I think he shot upwards. I was not expecting it. That's okay. Robo soldiers can take another death, I'm fine with it. I'm trying to line them up so that when I shoot both of them at the same time, but they are just not cooperating at all. There we go. That's what we like to see. And he's up. Okay. Alright. Okay. Oh, okay. That could have gone better, but that's alright. Next up is the troll boss, Golzuna. And you do actually, you are not obligated to do the mini bosses, so you are also not quite as able to get those speed booster attacks in, so I'm gonna have to do this guy pretty legit. What? Okay. I'm sorry. Samus decided not to spin jump there, and instead did a normal jump, and you can only do spin boosts out of a spin jump. You can't do it out of a normal jump. So I was not able to jump over that projectile. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that this is the amount of missiles that you're intended to have at this point in the game. I don't think I ever broke triple digits. So, you know. That's the amount of stuff that we skip to do this game fast. Alright, and that's that boss fight done. Dying to Golzuna, a little bit embarrassing, I will admit, but we are moving on to the Elite Chozo Soldier X. I don't know why the X isn't in the title. Oh, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun to run. Alright, we are going to be doing more of those Storm Missile strats, except he did do the shield thing even earlier than last time, so I didn't get to be okay for in any of these fights. It's a little annoying, but it's just a combination of bad RNG and me probably not manipulating the most. Well, that could have. Right. That's that. We will have one more central unit, the Ferenia central unit, which is the last one. I do not have the ability to target speed booster in this room, so I'm going to have to do at least the normal casing with it. But you can still beat the brain with just one swoop attack. Yep, there we go. And finally, we have Ravenbeak, the final boss of the game. This is normal difficulty instead of rookie, so I believe he has a little bit more health than last time. So I hope you enjoy mashing, because I'm going to be doing that a lot. I actually adopted different grip for mashing. I used my pointer finger for mashing instead of my thumb. So I'm holding my controller up against my thigh, using it to stabilize, and just mashing with my pointer finger. Luckily, I don't need to use any of the right triggers at all, which would be the only thing that would make this grip impractical. I can hit A to use the flat shift with my middle finger. Yep, some might call it the crab claw. Yeah, it's like a claw grip, except the left hand is like completely normal. My thumb is just like out of the way. My pointer finger is above Y, and my middle finger is above A. It's not as bad of a grip as the poor Breath of the Wild speedrunners when they do their whistle sprinting, but it's definitely awkward for sure. But I find it much more comfortable to mash with my pointer finger than my thumb. And I can get faster speeds too. I have not yet invested in a turbo controller for this game. If I want to avoid repetitive stress injury, or repetitive strain injury, I might go for one at some point, but so far the crab grip has been doing completely fine for me. And even though your DPS is limited by how much you can mash, thankfully it isn't by that much. Turbo controllers, like I said, are limited to some small amount of hertz, like 12 hertz, which is, all things considered, not super fast. It's nice that it's consistent, but it's not like turbo controllers have a humongous ability. And it is possible to mash faster than 12 hertz if you're a god. So. Alright, one or two more of these cutscenes should be the boss fight. He does have noticeably more health than the rookie mode, I believe. Hopefully I'm not making that up. Yep, here we go. Just two quick parries. And that's time. Hooray!
GG.
And that's all I've got. Thanks for watching, everyone.
I guess you already gave your shoutouts at the end of the run, but anything else to add?
Stay tuned for the rest of the run. We have 2 more runs, I believe, and they're both bangers. So stay tuned. Other than that, thanks for watching.